Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Trainz Railroad Simulator, Trainz 2022. And today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different and kind of cool. I'm going to pull up the Steam webpage though, because I got to be looking at the words to be able to even kind of try to say them. So we're going to be looking at the Mantiqueira Mountains route for Trainz 2022. This is a Brazilian route, Brazilian narrow gauge. So essentially it's a mountain route up in Brazil, dividing the states of Sao Paulo and Mantiqueira, connecting the cities of Itaiuba and Maria da Fe in the picturesque state of Mantiqueira, nestled in the southeast of Brazil. So this is kind of cool, kind of different. Brazil tends to get overlooked. South America as a whole tends to get overlooked a lot in train simulators and modeling as a whole. Just I don't really know why. It just doesn't seem to be many people that develop for it. I don't know if there's just no interest in it or there's just not a lot of people that do it, but yeah, South America really doesn't get much attention, which is a massive shame because South America is pretty well known as far as North America is concerned. As far as what I know, South America is very well known for their plantation railroads and their narrow gauge steam railroads. South America is one of the last countries that still operated steam locomotives on a regular basis. And yet here we are, 2024, and really the only thing that comes to mind as far as simulation is concerned that has ever been done by machine rail. There was a time where machine rail was entirely dedicated to Brazilian content. What happened to that, I really don't know. I mean, they do a phenomenal job with what they're putting out, but they used to do a lot of really neat Brazilian and South American content. They had some narrow gauge Baldwins, some German narrow gauge locomotives that were all used in South America. They used to have a narrow gauge route, and they used to have a decent set of standard gauge stuff too, as well as a really nice standard gauge route. And all of it went away, but yeah, machine rail is really the only thing that comes to mind whenever I try to think of anybody that's done Brazilian content. So to see something, quote, official done for one of the big brand simulators is really, really neat. I mean, again, it's very much an overlooked country when it comes to railroading enthusiasts. It's not often I set down a train for my videos and just have it go. So I had a squirrel moment. It's very entertaining watching this locomotive do its thing. That's not a locomotive that comes with this route, unfortunately. Matter of fact, that is where one of my first complaints will come from with the route. But we don't want to get into perks and irks just yet. But as a whole, this is something like a 30-ish mile route, and it is all mountain railroading. depending on which end you'll start. So here we're starting in Itayuba, where the majority of your industry along the route is based out of, as well as your locomotive servicing facilities, your large yard, passenger station, all the fun stuff. That's all based around here. You'll have to excuse me. Winters are really starting to set in Pennsylvania, and it is not agreeing with my allergies in the slightest. But we start down here, and then we oogie and boogie on up mountains. I mean, it's all mountain railroading, and it is all uphill. Whoops. There we go. If one were to attempt to do this inside the cab the hard way, boy, I bet you'll have a time. Running with a DC controller is not too terrible, but I imagine if you try to do this properly, per the sim, you'll have a time getting up this mountain, because it is all uphill, and it is quite steep. Our first little set out here, Sao Pedro. That is one thing about this route. It's kind of different. I don't know how. I mean, I would assume that it's correct for South America. I've never been there. Never gotten to see any of this stuff, but there's not really industry specific tracks quite like you would see in Europe or North America. You don't have like an industry over here and then a set of tracks going to it and a bunch of sidings and whatnot to service it. There's a lot of like runaround sidings up and down this route, where I assume you just set out like boxcars and whatnot. Whoever's supposed to come get it gets it. It just continues all up the mountain. And the detailing on this route is really quite nice for what it is. I mean, I'm not going to say that, oh my goodness, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. There's definitely some things that I think could still stand to be improved on. Like, your trackside foliage is quite literally a couple feet on either side of the track, and that's where it ends. I feel like it would spread out, but it's pretty much right. It's pretty much limited to your trackside. But what is trackside is done pretty nice. We do have telegraph lines that run the entire length of the route, which are done up, which is really nice. I do like it. And it does have a lot of era-appropriate assets, which is pretty cool. I mean, we've got the dirt roads. They're not flat. The cars kind of drive along. Even the character inside kind of bounces along in his car, which is really neat. Era-appropriate vehicles. I mean, for guys that do a lot of asset building, route building and whatnot, this route's kind of a little bit of a godsend. I mean, it's got a ton of custom assets done up for it. Lots of buildings, lots of undergrowth, lots of cars, people. I mean, all sorts of stuff that's been done up, which is absolutely phenomenal, I think. As a guy who's been stuck staring at Train Sim Classic for the last few videos, it is a huge breath of fresh air seeing something like this, because Train Sim Classic never gets this. Every single time, as far as North America goes, when we get a new route, it's always old assets reused from over a decade ago. And yet here we are with Trainz, an arguably older simulator system. I get new assets all the time. Brand new route like this, so it's got proper custom made assets to fit the route. I mean, it's really nice. Again, there is going to be some repetition. You're going to see the same palm tree stand out like a sore thumb here, there, and everywhere. Uh, it is what it is. The coloring is very different. It very much reminds me of like watching a movie, and whenever somebody shows up in Mexico, wham bam, everything turns kind of yellowish orange. Which, I mean, fits the idea. You're closer to the equator. It's hotter. It's all that fun stuff. Drier. Whoops. But see, that's like I said. We passed one back there too. Most of your road switching is going to be this right here. You'll get to your next station, and there might be a couple freight houses or something, and they're full run-through tracks. You just pull through, set out a couple cars, and continue on your way. Switch them out if you're supposed to. It's kind of wacky, kind of different. Very, very scenic route, though. Very scenic. Very pretty. And we're at the end of the line. It's not wildly long by any means. And it's not switching heavy. Not very industrial. I mean, it's very point A, point B with a little bit of road switching mixed in. These guys are driving through a building over here. I just noticed that. Oh well. What a pretty church. A lot of custom assets like that. Now, it could stand to be improved, without a doubt. My usual complaint with Trainz sim routes is they always look kind of dead. No people. Like, I get it, you're going to get stuck using the same people over and over, but at least scatter them throughout to make these places look a little more alive. You know, put some more vehicles on roadsides, more horses and buggies, more people walking on the sidewalk or sitting out in front of their house, just something. Just to make it look a little more alive, because right now it looks really dead. It looks like there's really not anything going on in town, no matter where we're at. Which is just kind of sad. Maybe fill in around these little houses that are out by themselves. Boy, there's a whole caravan over there going. But overall, I mean, it's a really nice route. It's got really good bones. If somebody wanted to sit down and do some editing, you got a really good starting point. So now we've seen the whole route. Onto the rolling stock. Rolling stock is... let me go over here to the edit real quick, because I need to make our environment a little bit more conducive to our seeing, so it's not covered in shadow. But rolling stock is kind of a win-lose scenario. On one hand, you get some custom-made rolling stock and motive power for this route. Like I was saying earlier, to my knowledge, Brazil is really not represented at all in Trainz. I picked this route up last night and played around with it, and I've been doing some Google searching, trying to find some more content to go along with Brazilian narrow gauge content for Trainz, and I have been completely unsuccessful. I haven't found anything at all. So you are very, very, very limited in terms of stock. What came with the root's kind of what you've got. I mean, you guys saw earlier, it had that 460. That's a Trainz Forge SPC locomotive. But, you know, use what you got. The track gauge is 3 foot, so you can use all the you can get away with all the American 3-foot stuff. So it is narrow gauge. But with the root, you're going to get this Baldwin 280, Baldwin built 280, in a very fancy color scheme that I actually kind of like. I think it's kind of cool, kind of neat, different. Is it the best thing in the world? Nah. I mean, you guys saw it compared to the Trainz Forge model. The texturing is definitely like Trainz 2010-ish, maybe Trainz a new era kind of time period. You know, what should be brass is very much just yellow. Green is very painted looking. But overall, the model itself does look nice. Given the lack of content for Brazil, it's kind of hard to compare and contrast. Does have knuckle couplers, so you can get away with, you know, playing with American content. The knuckles are a little different and off-center for American stuff, so it'll look a little funky, but you can use them. Matter of fact, I really don't know what's going on with this. There's very clearly like a knuckle right there, and then there's a knuckle right there. I don't know what's going on with that, but it's kind of odd. Locomotive is not dynamically numbered, so you get 1, period. 222 here, R&B 222. That's it. Not a zilch goose egg. Does have a custom cab. Not a lot going on with it, which is, I mean, it's fine. There's not a lot going on with these locomotives in real life. I mean, it's a very old Baldwin design that was cheap and easy to produce and got sent down south. So there's not much going on with them. Brake, throttle, reverse, firebox, probably a blower, and an injector. And that's it. That's literally it. There's nothing else. I guess the whistle. Let's see. Boom. Get rid of that. See if we can touch any of this. There we go. Whistle, it's alright. High pitch, a little squeaky. It doesn't have an ending, it just kind of fades. The steam for the whistle doesn't even touch the whistle. Let's see. We got our cut off. Can we open anything? No? No. Anyway, enough fooling. Enough fooling. Let's see, what else we get? We get a hospital car here, which is just the passenger car with the Red Cross sign on it. Just kind of, again, a bit odd. I feel like a hospital car would have hospital accommodations inside, like room for a cot, but it doesn't. So hospital car is pretty much copy paste of the coach car here. Coach car, pretty neat. Ah, gosh. Not lettered, not numbered, so you can get away with placing as many as you'd like. I have all of them backwards. Oh well. Get a cattle car here. And you can load cattle into it. You can put a cattle load in it. You'll get these hoppers with 2 different loads. One of those loads is kind of odd, kind of different, but you can load it with cannons, crude cannons, but it's kind of different. Crude cannon, like what are you gonna do? Fire it off in the back of the in the gondola? But you know, okay. You crude cannon load, or you get. I had another one of these over here. Or you get just kind of general goods. This is an odd choice. I feel like you could use the boxcar for these. But, you know, oh well, whatever. Which, speaking of boxcar, you'll get a boxcar. Boxcar is pretty much just a cattle car with more boards on the side. Detail-wise, they're not half bad. I love the trucks. This is my favorite part of these. The spoked freight car wheels. Such an odd sight in the United States. But overall detail is pretty good. Texturing definitely could use some work. But overall not half bad. So let's oogie and boogie on up the route a little bit here for giggles and squiggles. Bell is not animated, unfortunately. It does sound nice. Well, it's gonna make me. I do get a kick out of the signaling along this route. It is kind of fun. Your signaling is a fella standing out here with a sign. Which, I mean, it fits. It does fit. I'm not going to say it's wrong. It's just kind of entertaining because they, like, appear and then disappear. I don't know why I've got red all the way through. Doesn't make sense. There's nothing in front of me. Oh well. I'm literally the only power on the route right now. Now, speed along the route is between 50 and or 30 and 50 kilometers per hour. So if you don't remember to swap to kph and you're still using mph like I am, you'll be a little bit confused depending on where you start off because it's always an odd number. It's because it's in kilometers. Don't like the steam effects like at all, because it looks like they're shooting through the cab and then out instead of out of the cylinders. Smoke definitely looks dated Trainz. Yeah, in short, as a whole, a lot of this looks like older Trainz. Trainz 2022. But that's not to say it's bad. Again, there's a lot of potential here. Yeah, I don't like the steam effects at all. These sounds are alright. They're just really, really quiet. You hear the clickety-clack of the cars over the sound of the locomotive itself. It's just kind of odd. Let's hop up here to a little railroad crossing here. mean, overall, it's really nice. I mean, I do think it's a lot. It's kind of expensive for what it is, and that's not to detract from the work that goes into it, but on the other hand, it is about 40 US dollars. It's kind of stout for models and a route that looks like it's made for an older generation of game. Now, I did get it on sale. The Christmas sale is going on right now, or actually the Black Friday sale. I don't know. One of Steam's many sales. So when Steam starts to put Train DLC on sale, you can pick a lot of this stuff up for fairly cheap. I think I got this for $30, which it's not quite, it's not half off, but it is definitely cheaper than 40. But just given the look of everything, it looks older, and a lot of it plays older, not dynamically numbered. Just, it's got a lot of just old things about it that kind of kill a little bit. Definitely takes points away. On the other hand, you get a lot of custom assets. So it's kind of a give-take. Like I said earlier, it's very much a win-lose scenario where, on one hand, you got this. On the other hand, you got this. Kind of balances out. But overall, not bad, though. And it does run good, you know. There's no weird, shoddy track work here, there, and everywhere. The locomotive runs and functions pretty nice. Nothing weird or out of the ordinary with it. I wonder if I go into the cab, I can walk my way back here to the coaches. I sure can. How interesting. Coaches do have an interior for the most part. Just doesn't look half bad. Definitely could look better. Do have people inside. We back up front. It's funny how slow you move. That's a Trainz issue. That's not an issue with the route, but you can move really slow when you're trying to free roll in the cab like this. Coming to our stop. And there it is, guys. The, whoops, that's not what I want. The, Mantiqueira Mountains. I'm probably butchering the snot out of that, but, you know, I try. Overall, really, really neat. It's really, really, unique. Probably really niche, but I definitely recommend checking it out. If you want something a little bit different than the usual North America, Europe, and or North America, England, and Germany. I mean, that's pretty much the majority of train sim content, regardless of platform. So if you're looking for something different for a change, I highly recommend checking this out. It's neat. I would. There's a lot of things that could stand to be upgraded or changed, but on the other hand, there's a ton of assets you get to play with. There's a ton of how would I put it? There's lots of potential, especially for guys that are good at editing and updating and upgrading routes. There's a lot of potential here, so I highly recommend checking it out. It is available on Steam. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I will see you next time.